Welcome to Thriving Entrepreneur with your host, Steve Kidd, third-generation minister and 30-year business coach. Listen in as amazing, world-changing authors, speakers, and coaches share their struggles and victories. And hear from best-selling authors' insight into how you, too, can live your life as a thriving entrepreneur.
This is Steve. Welcome to Thriving Entrepreneur. Thanks for being with me here today as we talk about your uniqueness. You know, it's your uniqueness that sets you apart. It is your uniqueness that is so mandatory, so needed, so necessary in this world. Without you being the uniquely, incredibly, wonderfully brilliant person that you are, this world will not be the best it can be. And we really, really need you in order to be able to have a world that can be and do and feel and change in the ways that without you being you, it'll never happen. The world needs you. I want you to hear that because it's your uniqueness. It's exactly who you are and what you do that sets you apart. Your uniqueness sets you apart. So what do I mean by that? I mean, each of us has things that are similar to one another, but the more important, the cooler part about it really is the things that are different between us. It's those nuances. I love it when you look at twins who can look exactly alike and yet be so different. Back many, many, many years ago when my twin cousins were 5 years old, they stayed at our house for about a month while their mom and dad were going through a training. And it was so interesting because they were identical twins, and yet they were as uniquely, individually different as two people could be. And to this day, they still have such amazingly wonderful different parts of who they are. It's very cool to be able to see somebody embrace who they are and be the unique, wonderful person that they are. It's your uniqueness that sets you apart. It's your uniqueness that makes you the uniquely brilliant you that you are to make the change in this world that only you can make. Because each of us has a plan, has a purpose. There's a point for you. And no, it's not just so that you can keep the oxygen to carbon dioxide balanced out in the atmosphere. No, you're worth so much more than just breathing in and breathing out. You have a purpose. Sometimes it evades us. Sometimes it's hard to find, and we have to really look for it. And we wonder, what is it about me? But then as your purpose reveals itself, as you spend the time to be able to truly live in your purpose, the differences that you make in the world can be astounding. We're just going through life, being us, being that weird, quirky, unique us that we are. And lo and behold, we will do something most of the time, you know. I always tell people, the thing that is the uniqueness that's you is often so easy for you that you assume everybody must know how to do that. And when we actually discover that by being the you that is you and doing that thing that you so easily do, it changes somebody's life. Sometimes even you need to share how you do it, because there is somebody, while you find it to be incredibly easy, they're struggling with it to the point where it may be frustrating, maybe even makes them cry. They are struggling with it, and you haven't even thought to teach it because it's so easy for you. But it's that unique brilliance that sets you apart. Your unique brilliance is what sets you apart. It is what allows you to make the difference in this world that only you can make. It's what allows you to live as a thriving entrepreneur. We have three amazing guests today that are going to share their uniqueness, share with you, and help you see their unique brilliance. And in it, I hope you'll see some of yours as well, so that you can live as a thriving entrepreneur. With that said, let's jump in to our first guest. Join me in welcoming Katy Ray. Hey, Katy, how you doing today?
Hey, Steve, thanks for having me. I'm doing great.
Yeah, absolutely. Excited to talk to you today about your book, Uniquely Loved for Being You. But before we jump into your book, tell us a little bit about you and how you show up in the world.
Yes. So I like to call myself a hype person. I am all about energy and pouring into people and reminding them that they can do anything they put their mind to and be whoever they want to be. I am a co-founder of Humans First Coaching and Consulting. We go into companies and help with team building, leadership development, and all that. I am the founder of a nonprofit called Fostering Hearts Florida. We help siblings stay together and kids aging out of the system. I'm also the founder of an annual event called Celebrate You that celebrates anything and everything that you are. I do speaking, coaching, and consulting, and I'm also a mom of three little ones.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you're sitting around doing absolutely nothing, just looking for an opportunity for something to do.
Yeah, for sure. I'm super bored. I can't figure out what to do.
So the book is called Uniquely Loved for Being You. Tell us first a little bit about what the book means to you and then what
Yeah.
inspired it for you.
So the book for me gives kids and adults just hope that, you know, when life gets hard and you're in powerless situations, that you can look within and find that strength and reassurance that you can get through anything. I work with foster kids, but this happened about 5 years ago when my husband was going through recovery. My kids were super small at the time, and I just kept thinking, wow, that's a lot for them to take on energy wise and just trying to understand what situation this is. And it was a project I started 5 years ago. I found an illustrator and an artist, one of my very dear friends, Ashley Moonface, and I told her how I wanted the pictures. I wanted any kid to look at it and just be like, oh, that could be me. And just understand that life is really hard, but there are people out there that love you and support you, and you're an amazing person and human. So that's how I wrote it. That's why I wrote it.
I love that. So the question I always ask, and I always admit that it's a very unfair question. I won't ask you which of your kids is your favorite, but I
I
would like to know today there might actually be an answer for that, and and then it could be recorded, and then they'll be like, "Mom," um, but no, seriously, what is right now, at least today, your favorite part of the book?
My favorite part is the imagination one. It's a picture of an astronaut. It's this one. Don't ever stop using your imagination. It reminds us, even as adults, like you can't stop dreaming. You can't stop doing like scenes from movies. My kids do scenes from movies and build all day. And just watching them use their imagination always empowers me to be like, yeah, I can do anything too. And it's the imagination piece that's really my favorite part.
Oh, I love that. My kids are all grown now, but I remember one time we were on a trip, and um, for whatever reason, the radio was down or whatever, and I hear from the back seat they have divvied up all the parts from the movie Lion King. It was really popular then,
Yeah,
and they were literally talking through the whole movie. It's like they
yeah.
didn't miss a line. It was kind of amazing,
Don't
actually,
you
but.
love that?
Oh man,
That's
it's so
cool.
cool.
I
It
love
it
that.
also lets you know just how much they've watched the movie.
Also that. But
Yeah.
they do that all day at my house, and I love watching it. I will stop whatever I am doing to hear them like recite a whole scene from something they watched. I think it's great.
The cool part about that too is that I think a lot of times we discount how good children can be at memorizing things if it's interesting to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I have a lot of like parents who reach out to me who are like, "Oh, they read it every night. This is the book they pick because it's easy. It's an easy read. It just reminds them that life is hard, but you can get through anything." And I love that I can be that maybe like reminder where they're memorizing that line from that one picture they liked, because it makes me happy.
The only problem with them having memorized the book is then, as they're beginning to fall asleep, you can't skip a couple of pages because they'll wake back up, stop you, and make you read that page because they know it.
Yeah, it's a short read though. It's good.
I love it. That's great. So let's talk a little bit about being uniquely loved for being you. What does that mean personally to you?
So, personally, it just means you get to be who you are and never compare. But I also like to remind kids that your family can look so different than everybody else's family. I grew up with a different type of family. I know I work with a lot of foster kids that grow up with different types of family, and that it's okay to be different than your typical mom and dad at home with your siblings. It could be an aunt, it could be a foster mom, an adoptive mom, it could be your grandma, it can be your sister. It can be just a very good friend. Like everything can look different. So I want people to know that your life can be unique. You're unique, that you're loved for exactly who you are.
What are some of the ways that we can help somebody, I mean, because you deal with foster kids and a lot of kids who are very resistant to accepting love. What are some of the ways that we can, begin to give love to people like that that
Yeah.
are very hesitant or, not even willing to take it?
Yeah, I think it's consistency and follow through. I think in all of life, if you're consistent and you follow through with what you promise or things that you're going to do for someone, it's really important. And it's to keep trying. As adults, we have trouble motivating ourselves or trusting people. We have to realize how many times we have to really try with children because those emotions that they go through, those huge feelings, are really hard to compartmentalize and like they can't really understand where they're going with it. So it's that consistency is a really big piece to be that trusting person.
I love that. So the flip side to that is, what are some things that we ourselves could change in us to allow us to spread that message more, about how much we love the other people in our lives?
I think it's attention. With technology and everything now, it's so hard to be fully present with people that it's like put the phone down for 10 minutes. You have no idea that kid's whole demeanor will change by just giving them attention or your eye contact or just asking them questions. I can tell my kid's demeanor if I'm checking an email or something and I put the phone down and I'm like, I'm sorry, what were you saying? It's like a whole change. It's that attention piece that's really important for adults too.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, we won't air that part because suggesting that somebody put their phone down is just no, I love that advice. I was in a meeting with a group of, it was actually a men's group, and a bunch of them, I all of a sudden started feeling really really old, because a bunch of them were talking about how they couldn't take the phone away from their kids and their kids had to have the phone, and I was like,
No.
all of us grew up, we didn't have one. And, we don't have three arms or four eyes or, any kind of weird things like that. I think sometimes we diminish how important that actual looking somebody in the eyes is.
That's so important. And just that attention piece, knowing that someone's listening to you.
So, what are your hopes and dreams and your aspirations for the book? What would you love to see the book do in the world?
I would love to get in front of more kids of all ages in schools, and speak to them and go through kind of some rough times I had in school with people, remind them that it's not a competition, to just own who they are. My hopes and dreams is to just change kids' lives and have them realize that exactly who they are is who they were meant to be.
So when the foster kids or kids in the school look at you and they figure you must have the perfect life now, what kind of things do you say to them?
So I went through a very hard time in school. My dad came out when I was in seventh grade, and I was in a Catholic school at the time, and it was very hard on me because of the shame that was around me. My dad's one of my best friends, but it was a very hard time in my life to understand why there was so much judgment and shame. And then when I was in college, I had gotten arrested for getting into the wrong crowd. But it came from high school to college because I was chasing money because I was around very wealthy families and I wasn't the one. I was working a lot. And I got into some bad choices, but I knew who I was at my core, and that didn't define me. And I'm where I am today because of my mindset and my heart and who I am. And I want to remind kids that sometimes we don't make the best choices, and it's okay to make mistakes, but we always have a chance to do it again. And we always get that second chance to just be better humans.
I love that. So what would be one piece of advice you would give to somebody who doesn't feel very loved today?
That love comes from yourself, and you can love yourself, and the rest kind of falls into the place. And the only person that really matters is you, and maybe who you pray to, and the love you have in your heart, and that there are people out there that want to support them. And it's just finding those people.
That's so good. And the book is available actually for free today on Amazon. I'm going to drop the link in right now, but it is also in the description so you can see it either place. And I really encourage everybody to go to Amazon, get the book today. It is an amazing, cute little book, regardless of what age you are. But, start your kids off as young as possible. I can tell you from experience, like I said, all of mine are grown now. If I could go back in time, what I do is, hug and kiss them even more,
Yeah, do that. Hug and kiss is the best.
Right. So before I let you go, give us some words of encouragement.
My words of encouragement of today is really, really stay true to who you are and who you are at your core. Don't worry about other people's judgments. You get to be exactly who you were meant to be, and just one step at a time, you'll get there.
The book again is called Uniquely Loved for Being You by Katy Ray. It's available on Amazon. Go get the book right now. Don't wait. Don't say you're going to do it. Go get it right now. You'll be glad that you did. Katy, thanks so much for spending some time with us here on the show today.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it.
I'm so glad we started here because, first of all, you need to understand and embrace that uniqueness that is you is such an amazing, necessary, needed part of this world, that you just simply showing up and being you, that's what we need in this world. We need exactly, uniquely, wonderfully you. It's your uniqueness that sets you apart. It is the thing that the world is craving. It's like water to a man dying of thirst. Is your uniqueness to the person in need, struggling with the very thing that you were put on this earth to make a difference in that area, maybe even just for them, and probably, likely, for so many more. What a great way to be able to live as a thriving entrepreneur by sharing your unique brilliance that sets you apart. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back here on Thriving Entrepreneur. Don't go away.
If you're an author who's on a mission, stand out with your brand out. Check this out, guys. Yep, everything's marketing, and marketing is everything. Your existing book can become a best-selling book, or even, hey, like mine, a #1 international best-selling book in 5 days. Listen, if your business isn't known by everybody, it's obscurity, and that's death, right? The same thing is true for your book. If you're not happy with the way your book is performing, you got that far and then it just fell off the face of the planet kind of feeling, go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Schedule a talk with Steve. It's risk-free, it's guaranteed, it's proven. We've done it thousands of times. What are you waiting for? Yes, yourbestsellertoday.com. This time next week, you could have a beautiful seal on your book and get the attention that you deserve. Reach the people that you came to serve. Come on now. What are you waiting for? Grab a pen. Here we go. All you got to do is book a call. Yourbestsellertoday.com. Go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Book a talk with Steve. It's proven. It's guaranteed. It's going to happen. All you have to do is say yes to your destiny.
Welcome back to Thriving Entrepreneur.
This is Steve. Welcome back. We're talking today about your uniqueness and how it sets you apart. We're talking about that unique brilliance that is you. I want to teach you something, and those of you that are longtime listeners, you've heard me say this a million times. Don't check out in case it hasn't sunk through yet. I want you to know the definition, the real definition for the word humility. Humility is a right perspective of yourself. That means that you're able to admit your faults, but it also means that you're willing and able to accept your talents, the things that you're good at. You see, to demean ourselves just to be able to make others feel better or because of our low self-esteem is actually the other side of the coin from conceit. You can either brag about yourself or you can demean yourself. And both of those come from the same place, and neither of them is being humble. Being less than, doing less than, diminishing yourself so that you're being quote unquote respectful. None of those are being humble. Being humble doesn't mean bragging about it. It isn't like, but it is about acknowledging yourself and what you do. And I have a real fun little challenge I'm going to give to you before we jump into the next guest. I want you to find something that you're good at, and then I want you to look yourself in the mirror, and I want you to tell yourself, you are really good at that. Wow, that was amazing. You see, that's not bragging. That's just admitting the fact that you have talents and that you're very good at the things you do. Your uniqueness sets you apart. And the first step in that is you have to be humble enough to admit you have some pretty cool things about you. And then by doing that, you can embrace and live as a thriving entrepreneur. Let's jump in and listen to our next guest. Join me in welcoming Alex Levin. Hey, Alex, how you doing today?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here with us. First, tell us a little bit about you and how you show up in the world.
Sure. So my name's Alex Levin. I'm the founder and CEO of Regal.io. My background is mostly in technology. So I've worked at a lot of different tech startups over time. And based on some experience we had actually at the largest home improvements company in the world, which is Angie, we saw an opportunity and started our own business. So we ran very large teams that actually would talk with inbound leads. So customers would come to Angie and say, hey, I want a fence installation. We'd actually talk to them, which is crazy, I know, on the internet, but customers loved it. It was a huge part of that business and had a very positive impact on converting those customers in that sort of more considered type of purchase online. The challenge was there was no good technology for that. Most customer service technologies focused on how do you remove interactions with customers. And for Regal, we wanted the opposite. We wanted to give companies like Angie, in considered spaces, whether it's insurance, healthcare, education, lending, or local services, we want to give those companies the tools to identify who customers are, use all the customers' real-time behavior to know when to reach out, in what channel, with what message to help that customer. So, stop treating customers like the enemy and start actually personalizing outreach to them. And we've seen massive success with it across all these industries. And it's very exciting to be here to talk more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So if I understand correctly, we're talking about an outbound initiated customer service call. So we're not talking about an initial cold sales lead. It would be at least something from a lead. Is that
right?
A good starting place?
The customers we work with don't do cold calls. So for instance, in healthcare, we work with Ro or Roman, they're sometimes called. In insurance, we work with AAA. In home services, for instance, we work with Angie's List and some of the other big ones. And in financial services, for instance, we work with SoFi. So these are very customer friendly brands. Customers are coming in trying to get a product and not necessarily converting, often because they can't figure it out, or there's something they have a question about. And so these brands are then using Regal to reach out to them while they're, online, while they're doing something to help them. And compared to, an email, which might get clicked on 2% of the time, we've all gotten those emails of, oh, you left something in your cart. Regal actually helps these brands reach customers about 30% of the time. So you can talk with many more of these very high intent customers. and then it leads to a much higher conversion rate.
So for people who don't understand, let's talk about the difference between just shooting somebody a text message or a quick email versus actually calling a person on the phone and giving them that personal touch.
Sure. So 5 years ago, if you had told me that you should be calling your customers online, I would have told you were crazy. It really wasn't until I went through the experience in the home improvements industry that I saw the value. For a long time, the playbook online has been don't talk to your customer. But what's happened is everyone who shops online now expects to do everything online, their healthcare, their go to school, buy anything. But for some of these more complicated products, like life insurance, for instance, you're probably not just going to like go on your cell phone and like buy life insurance. You're probably going to have some questions. You're going to want, to build trust with somebody before you actually buy it. And, historically, that's how life insurance was always sold, was through a person. And so the innovative brands, the highest growing brands that are moving online are the ones that are figuring out how do I get that personal touch at the right time in that process for somebody who's looking for life insurance. An email is fine for marketing. Even a text message for marketing is fine. But what the customer really needs is a conversation. And in Regal, sometimes that happens over SMS, but often people are pushing to have that happen actually live with a human being, at a time that works for the customer. And so we see that customers are much more satisfied with the brand and much more satisfied with the outcome when they actually are able to have that conversation.
Yeah, for sure. People still love to talk to people as opposed to just some form of automation or what feels like automation.
Yeah, an example I often give that seems to resonate with people is I remember talking with a very large bank early days, and they explained to me that when somebody physically walked into a branch and wanted to fund an account, 93% funded the account. It was very high, right? And they were able to do that well. And now the bank has created an online site, which in theory has much more distribution, but in reality, only 30% of the people actually funded their account. And so they had this realization that this was a business ending problem, right? This is a critical problem. They couldn't figure out how to bring that human agent that used to help in person in a branch into that online experience. They were going to get crushed in terms of how many people actually funded the account online. And so I think to me, it was always been a good reminder of the internet doesn't solve everything. We shouldn't all assume that the internet is by itself a solution. You need to figure out for that specific business, what is the right way to engage with the customer that leads to a good experience for that customer.
So when we're talking about a lead, wherever the lead comes from, an ad campaign, event we're at, whatever, and we're talking about connecting with prospects, how does your product work when we're talking about somebody that's just a lead, somebody that's expressed interest, but you haven't necessarily spoken to yet?
Sure. So historically in e-commerce, you got just an email address and that was it. It was a very one-dimensional view of a customer. What we find in the industries we work in, these more considered industries, is that it's you need a more full picture of that customer. So we have under the hood a unified customer profile. Brands can pass to us whatever first-party information they have about the customer, and we append it to that customer's profile. So it could be information on a delivery through UPS. Could be information on how you're navigating the website. It could be, an email click. It could be a conversation with customer support. What that lets us do is make sure that we have a 360-degree view of the customer to make sure that when we are reaching out, it's the right time. To make sure that when an agent is talking with you, they have the context and they know what they're talking about. That is a big, big part of our success. I'd say another piece is that in a lot of the industries we work in, the data model is quite different. So take healthcare as an example. There's often not one person that you're working with. You're often working with both somebody and their parent or somebody and their kid, depending on the age range. And you need to make sure that your system can handle that and understand how to reach out to the right person for the right conversation. In healthcare, there's often multiple healthcare providers. So who even is the right person to be having that conversation within healthcare practice is another interesting concept. And so these are all things that we've taken on to make sure that these businesses can be successful, that historical products in the contact center software world don't have.
So what differentiates you guys' approach from other people who just take the numbers and pick up the phone and call people?
Sure. And, I look at this industry and I say, today, a lot of businesses that know they need to talk to customers take the approach of call faster and call more. So that's the only levers they have. If they want to reach customers, they try to call them as fast as they can and as many times as they can. And it's a unfortunate situation that results in treating every customer the same and ultimately alienating customers such that they don't want to engage with you. We've all gotten this where you get lots of spam calls. That's a bad situation, and largely is created by the fact that the companies don't have the right technology to be able to personalize outreach. When you go work with those companies, it's not that they want to spam you, they just don't have the technology to do it otherwise. So Regal obviously provides technology for these businesses to rethink that strategy and start personalizing the phone and SMS outreach based off of real customer behavior, so that, when something's happening online, you can know it. You can call them with a branded call. And so literally we'll say the name of the brand on the phone, which is exciting. Based on what's happening in that call, it can trigger other texts or other calls in the future to make sure that you're engaging that customer in the right way. It's really transforming from one size fits all to a much more personalized world. And, at the level of scale that our customers are operating at, that you can't do this manually. You can't have an agent like looking in an Excel sheet and trying to decide who to call next. You need to have a systematic way of using all this data to decide who to call and what to say.
And so your service does actually have the physical people that are making the calls too, or you're just connecting them to the agent at the organization?
Yeah, it's a good clarification. So we are a technology product. We offer the technology. Our customers are building, teams of people that are great at this. So one of our customers, for instance, is Smalls in the in the cat food space. Apologies. We also work with Farmer's Dog, who's in the dog food space. But Smalls does something that I love. When they call, each of these people at Smalls are super passionate about pets, and they get on the phone and say, "I'm your cat concierge, and I'm here to help." And it's a very cute interaction. And I think it's part of why customers really love it. And so, yes, like our job is to make sure we're bringing the most innovative technology. And we have a team of 50 engineers that are constantly building new things. Our customers are great at building the human teams that are using that to actually emote and connect with customers.
Thank you. Thanks for differentiating that. So what level does a company need to be at in order to be able to work with you? I mean, can a brand new startup do it, or do you need to be at a certain level of revenue before it makes sense financially?
Yeah, so we tend to work with mid-size and larger businesses. Anyone from 20 salespeople all the way up to thousands of salespeople. The reason we don't work with very small businesses is often they don't need this level of sophistication yet. They're figuring out a lot of things. But I think once they are sort of ready to scale up, that's when a lot of companies will come to us. Instead of using sort of just a soft phone or a very simple sort of dialer online that's wasting a lot of time, they'll go, okay, we know we're going to go from 10 agents today to 100 soon. We need a system like Regal to get ready for that.
And for somebody who would like to find out more about your service, how can they get in contact with you?
So anybody can go to regal.io, and there's a lot of good information there about our product. And then always feel free to email me at hello@regal.io.
Perfect. So before you go, give us some words of encouragement as to why we would want to use a tool like yours.
For sure. So, for businesses in these more considered industries, so again, healthcare, insurance, education, local services, lending, it's critical to have that conversation with the customer, and they know that. So our job is to help you drive more of those conversations, convert more of those conversations, which drives more revenue for your business. And ultimately, everybody has very high growth goals. So we're there to help and make sure you hit those growth goals.
Love it. Well, Alex, thanks so much for spending some time with us here on the show today.
Thank you.
I love it when uniqueness shows up and becomes a new business venture for a person, something that you can hear when they're describing it, the excitement, the joy, the amazement even in their voice as they talk about this really cool new thing that they're doing in the world, and how important it is, and effective and practical, and how useful it is to be able to use this cool thing that came, let's face it, out of their uniqueness, to be able to bring into the world something that the world needs. Sometimes it's things that we know we need. Sometimes it's things that we didn't really know we needed. But then once we discover them, we're so glad that we did. Your uniqueness sets you apart. Your ability to be able to express that in ways that help the world, that's living as a thriving entrepreneur. I want that for each and every one of you. I hope you'll keep that in mind as we listen to our next guest.
If you're an author who's on a mission, stand out with your brand out. Check this out, guys. Yep, everything's marketing, and marketing is everything. Your existing book can become a best-selling book, or even, hey, like mine, a #1 international best-selling book in 5 days. Listen, if your business isn't known by everybody, it's obscurity, and that's death, right? The same thing is true for your book. If you're not happy with the way your book is performing, you got that far and then it just fell off the face of the planet kind of feeling, go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Schedule a talk with Steve. It's risk-free, it's guaranteed, it's proven. We've done it thousands of times. What are you waiting for? Yes, yourbestsellertoday.com. This time next week, you could have a beautiful seal on your book and get the attention that you deserve. Reach the people that you came to serve. Come on now. What are you waiting for? Grab a pen. Here we go. All you got to do is book a call, yourbestsellertoday.com. Go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Book a talk with Steve. It's proven, it's guaranteed, it's gonna happen. All you have to do is say yes to your destiny.
Welcome back to Thriving Entrepreneur.
This is Steve. Welcome back. Thanks for listening to Thriving Entrepreneur today as we talk about your uniqueness sets you apart. All the things that are so wonderfully, amazingly unique about you and how that makes the difference in this world by setting you apart and giving you the opportunity to come up with new ways of helping people see and love themselves, of loving yourself, and of creating products, goods, and services that really make an amazing difference in this world. We've got one more guest. They've got an amazing product that they've come up with that comes from their uniqueness, that sets them apart, that allows you to be able to have your life be better. What a great way to help the world and be a thriving entrepreneur. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Instead, let's jump in to our next guest. Join me in welcoming Rob Renee. Hey, Rob, how you doing today?
Hi, fantastic, Steve. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, thanks. So first off, tell us a little bit about you and how you show up in the world.
Yes, that's a great question. How I show up in the world. That's a really good question, right? I can go a lot of different ways with that. But I am CEO of an exciting new e-commerce business, and I've had a really interesting background and to get here. So I don't know how much you want to go through that, but right now I'm running an e-commerce business that's using quantum energy to help people get off of big pharma medications. Is what we're how we position it. We're really trying to help people with pain management and allergy relief and all these types of common issues, and help them stop taking big pharma drugs and using our products, which are all natural, and they use frequencies instead of medicine to help people. So that's a big part of what I'm up to now.
I love that. So for people who don't know, explain to us what quantum energy is.
Yeah, so quantum energy is really interesting. And I'd love, when I had no idea what it was, just probably a year and a half ago, before I was introduced to this technology. It really is frequency based. And as you know, our body is made up of energy, and our body reacts to external forces and frequencies. So when our body interacts with frequencies, it can be positive or negative. And what quantum energy and how we leverage quantum energy is using positive frequencies that interact with your body. So we harness the intentions and positive intentions, and we encode those onto a skin patch, and then and we call that the quantum energy. because it's using frequencies to connect to the energy system in your body to help it do certain things, either to relieve pain and or to relieve allergy symptoms, so on and so forth.
So are those frequencies the same for everybody, or are they custom to each individual?
Yeah, that's a great question. They're the same for our products, but we customize each of our products. We have 14 different products. We focus initially on pain with most people, pain relief, because people, it's a really new technology, and people, whether you're in pain or not. And so we test out the product with people. We say, hey, when you are in pain, you try our product. And then they're like, hey, this actually really works, because you can tell that your pain levels have been either taken away or reduced. And so it's not specific to, we don't program it specific to each person. We program it specific to each issue and or problem. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. So if I understand correctly, let me just make sure. So everyone that is having a problem with pain would react to a certain frequency. Am I saying that sort of right?
Yeah, because since your body is made up of energy, and then frequencies are not strange. Frequencies are around us all the time. I mean, even color and light are actual frequencies. And when you use your cell phone, or when you're listening to the radio, when you're driving down the freeway at 65 miles an hour and you tune it to the Steve's Kid show, you have to tune it to a specific frequency. So frequencies are not strange, they're everywhere. And then what we do with our product is we harness a specific frequency that helps relieve pain for in that specific example. So it connects. We have scientific proof that our patches will connect with your brain within 5 seconds. So we can do like an EEG monitor on your brain, and it can see that it's connecting to your brain within 5 seconds, and then it goes to work on the pain relief. And so sometimes people feel immediate relief, relatively quickly, and everybody's body is different, and their pain, the reason they're having pain is also different. And so the actual relief may take, minutes, hours, or days, depending upon how difficult the problem is.
So we've been talking specifically about pain, and I know you mentioned some of them, but what are all the different kinds? You said 14 different frequencies. So what are the different things that you can help people with?
Yeah, it's really fun because it starts off with pain, like I mentioned, just because it's easy to tell people, they know whether or not it's helping or not. Then we have anti-anxiety. We have a sleep and refresh product, allergy relief, blood sugar support, health and wellness. One of our most popular is the keto boost. So it helps people lose weight, it reduces your appetite. We have a clarity and focus one, which is also real popular, especially with COVID and some of the symptoms you get or after effects of COVID is what's called brain fog. And so our clarity and focus product's been very helpful for people like that. We have a strength and stamina one, which is awesome for older people who starting to slow down a little bit. We have a neuropathy product, an immune boost product, and then 2 for females specifically. It's a postmenopausal and a premenopausal product to help them with cramps and pains and night sweats and hot sweats that people will get when they're going through menopause. So a whole variety of products.
Wow, I love that. So, and you said most people start with the pain related thing. How would people even find out about you? I mean, do you have marketing campaigns you're running, or it's the first time I've heard about it from you. So how would people, how are they finding out about you?
That's the biggest problem that we have is just the whole, we're a small company, right? So we don't have big marketing budgets and campaigns. So one of the ways I'm getting the word out is through like what we're doing, radio and podcast. That's a really inexpensive way for us to actually get out and get the word out without having to spend really large dollars in marketing budgets and campaigns. And we're working on some social media, and we're trying to do some affiliate marketing and some influencer marketing and things like that. But that the problem with us being a really small company, we have to bootstrap our way to our marketing. So that's probably our biggest hurdle. Isn't the product. The biggest hurdle is just getting the knowledge out and letting people know that, one, it exists. And then the fun thing is we do have hundreds of testimonials already. So of people where it's really helped them dramatically. And that we have good video testimonials as well as written testimonials of people that it's really changed their life. So it's pretty exciting.
I love that. So for the person who's thinking, hey, I just have this pain and I'm taking Tylenol or, maybe even things stronger than that.
Yeah.
How long is it going to take for them when they get it to be able to hopefully stop taking, that medicine?
Yeah, it's pretty quick. Like I mentioned, it starts working within a few seconds, but then, like I mentioned, the pain dependent upon the actual source of the pain. And I think, and it doesn't work for everyone because, in my opinion, there are certain things that just, God doesn't want masked, that you need to go get it fixed. And so, our product is going to work on a very large majority of the cases for pain, but the ones that it doesn't, you probably need to go get some, external help for that particular problem. So it's relatively quick, and people have been able to, that have been on long-term pharmaceutical drugs have really pleased, and they start reducing their reliance on those pharmaceutical drugs. And you have to do that with a doctor's consent, right, to make sure that you're not just cold turkey getting off of something that your body's dependent upon, that type of thing. But it does help, and it helps dramatically.
So for the person who's like, well, that's me, I need to get help in this area, how do they get a hold of you? What's your website, your social media, those kind of things?
Yeah, so it's pretty simple. It's QE Strong. So Q as in quantum and E for energy. So QESTRONG.com. And that's the main way that we sell the product is off of our website. But a lot of people are uncomfortable buying things online. So you can also call us. So our phone number is 972-945-1126. So you can connect with us either via the phone. Again, that's 972-945-1126. Or you can just go to the website, QEstrong.com as well. And then we're QE Strong on Facebook and Instagram and others, as well.
So give us some words of encouragement, specifically related to your product for the people that are listening.
Yeah, the beautiful thing about this is it literally is not using medication. So it's not like a skin patch that's going to put drugs or CBD or anything that your body's going to interact with and have a conflict with. So it's very non-intrusive, and it's a very solid alternative to common pain issues and problems, and or anxiety issues or problems, or sleep problems, all those different products. Or our weight loss product is great at just helping you reduce your appetite. It's just, but the nice thing is you're not relying upon medicine. So it's 100% natural. It's made here in the United States of America. So we're not, importing anything from anywhere to use the product. That's built here in the middle of the United States. And it's an exciting, new company that we're trying to really help people. We have a big heart for all natural health solutions. I'm writing a book, about quantum energy and all natural health, and trying to get people to start doing things the old-fashioned way and doing it with the tools that God gave us instead of taking pharmaceutical drugs. We think big pharma has been really disastrous to our society, and we're trying to help people claim that and get it back.
Well, Rob, I really appreciate what you're doing. I think it's really cool, and I know that it'll help a lot of people. Thanks so much for spending some time with us here on the show today.
Yeah, super excited. Blessed to meet you.
I love that. And of course, any of us that deal with regular pain, we're always glad for something that gives us the ability to deal with that in a way that's better than just popping Tylenol or naproxen or whatever other product we might need to take in order to be able to get through the pain in our knees or our back or whatever it might be. And what a great way to use your unique brilliance and have it set you apart. It is your uniqueness that sets you apart. It's so amazing when you then come up with a solution that can help so many people live a better life. That is living as a thriving entrepreneur. It's something I want for you. I want you to be able to take your uniqueness that sets you apart and live and be and thrive all that you can be as you live every day as a thriving entrepreneur. Let's take one more break and then we'll be right back.
If you're an author who's on a mission, stand out with your brand out. Check this out, guys. Yep, everything's marketing, and marketing is everything. Your existing book can become a best-selling book, or even, hey, like mine, a #1 international best-selling book in 5 days. Listen, if your business isn't known by everybody, it's obscurity, and that's death, right? The same thing is true for your book. If you're not happy with the way your book is performing, you got that far and then it just fell off the face of the planet kind of feeling, go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Schedule a talk with Steve. It's risk-free, it's guaranteed, it's proven. We've done it thousands of times. What are you waiting for? Yes, yourbestsellertoday.com. This time next week, you could have a beautiful seal on your book and get the attention that you deserve. Reach the people that you came to serve. Come on now. What are you waiting for? Grab a pen. Here we go. All you got to do is book a call, yourbestsellertoday.com. Go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Book a talk with Steve. It's proven, it's guaranteed, it's gonna happen. All you have to do is say yes to your destiny.
Welcome back to Thriving Entrepreneur.
This is Steve. Welcome back. Thanks for listening to Thriving Entrepreneur today. We've been talking about your uniqueness sets you apart. We've spent the entire episode talking and sharing with you how your uniqueness sets you apart. And yet, I can almost feel it. The resistance in us to be able to see ourselves as unique. We tend all too often to define ourselves as boringly normal, as something that is less than what we are. And then we allow ourselves to fall into the trap of less than our uniqueness, of settling. Have you ever done that? I remember, and it wasn't that long ago actually, coming to the realization that in order to be able to show what I believed was showing respect to people that I respected very highly, I was diminishing myself. I didn't even know I was doing it. I think it was probably something about a belief system that I had, the way that I was raised. I don't even really know why that message came through to me, but I discovered that I had been living as less than my best because of my desire to be able to be sure that I was being respectful to the people that were in leadership in my life, that I had chosen to be in that spot, and to, allow them that management position, that ability to be able to speak into and even do training in my life. It was a fun, somewhat difficult transition to be able to see how I had reduced myself, how I wasn't sharing all that I was with the world. I wasn't allowing my uniqueness to set me apart. And I was doing it, and I think all for the right reasons, but I was diminishing who I was. I love how Katy said in her book that you're uniquely loved for being you. You need to embrace you. You need to embrace how powerfully amazing you are. You may, like Alex, have a great new tool that companies really are going to thrive using. Or possibly like Rob, you have a new product that will help people who are suffering in the world. Whatever it might be that your uniqueness brings to the world, it will most definitely set you apart. And we can't allow ourselves to live in a diminished capacity of any sort because of some false sense or wrong teaching that leads us to believe that we'll be better if we're somehow less. I need you to know how powerful you are, how incredible you are, how massively needed by the world you are. I say this to you every week. I hope maybe it'll sink in just even a little bit more today than it ever has before. You are uniquely brilliant. You were created for a purpose, and the world needs you. It's not even just that the world wants you, which we absolutely do. The world needs you. There's a purpose for you. Your uniqueness sets you apart. You are amazing. You're powerful. You're a creation that was made specifically for now. I love how T.D. Jakes says that God was so interested, so invested in having you be on this planet, that it didn't matter what two people it took. I mean, it really did matter is probably a better way of saying it. He used those people, no matter how flawed they may be, to be able to come together at that exact moment that was your conception, so that you, the you that's you, is here and living in the world and thriving and making the difference that only you can make. You see, you won the race from the beginning, and you are still every day winning. Your uniqueness sets you apart. It calls out to the world. And so often we have allowed people to demean us, to diminish us, and the worst person of all that does that is ourselves, to tell us to be quiet, to not say anymore, to stop, to slow down, to not take the risks. And then the person that thing we were charging headlong towards to get done, to do and be, the person that would have and was meant to serve, they end up living in lack and in less than. Think back in your own life of the people who have touched you, who have made a massive difference, helped you be the you that you are now. And now imagine, what would your life be like if on that day or in those years, whatever it might have been, they second-guessed themselves. They allowed somebody else to squelch their voice. And because of that, they didn't speak into your life. They didn't make the difference that they made in your life. And you wouldn't be the wonderful, unique you that you are. So thank them, and thank you for what you're going to do for the next person as you live as a thriving entrepreneur. Until we're together again next time, I hope you have a great week.
Thanks for listening to Thriving Entrepreneur today. If you want to get your question answered, send an email to questions@wehelpyouthrive.com. We look forward to you joining us again next time.
If you're an author who's on a mission, stand out with your brand out. Check this out, guys. Yep, everything's marketing, and marketing is everything. Your existing book can become a best-selling book, or even, hey, like mine, a #1 international best-selling book in 5 days. Listen, if your business isn't known by everybody, it's obscurity, and that's death, right? The same thing is true for your book. If you're not happy with the way your book is performing, you got that far and then it just fell off the face of the planet kind of feeling, go to yourbestsellertoday.com, schedule a talk with Steve, Steve. It's risk-free, it's guaranteed, it's proven. We've done it thousands of times. What are you waiting for? Yes, yourbestsellertoday.com. This time next week, you could have a beautiful seal on your book and get the attention that you deserve. Reach the people that you came to serve. Come on now. What are you waiting for? Grab a pen. Here we go. All you got to do is book a call. Yourbestsellertoday.com. Go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Book a talk with Steve. It's proven. It's guaranteed. It's going to happen. All you have to do is say yes to your destiny.